What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, or should I say channels. We are all kind of here together. This is Flywheel Films, Goes to Miata. We've got Code and Light and Emadifications. I should have done one handle. Two is annoying.
Maybe.
Like I have Ghost to Miata and also Flywheel
Yeah,
Films.
tagging you is kind of a pain sometimes.
Yeah. In my defense, Flywheel Films happened before the Miata, so I didn't know any better. But welcome to kind of an AMA, Ask Me Anything, for those of you who don't know acronyms. And just a general hangout. We're going to talk YouTube, cars, skinny jeans, Kia Souls,
hair products,
a whole lot.
Lack of hair products.
Yeah, lack of hair products. We're going to get into a lot, so enjoy the ride.
This should be called the Three Dudes in Hats.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. There's so many things we have in
welcome
common.
to the Three Hats, Three Pairs of Sunglasses show. Yeah, where do we start?
We do all have glasses.
we do. Yeah.
Wow. We're just different variations of each other.
It's almost like we're friends.
Yeah, it was natural. Predestination, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
We've all got.
Let's talk about
beer.
our beers real quick.
So yeah, what are you guys drinking? It's actually some of my favorite podcasts start with, "What are you drinking tonight?"
What do you? Well, we're kind of basic because
These
this is
are-
what we had. Like,
Well, these are all technically my beers.
Yeah.
oh well,
No, I'm just.
la-di-da.
As someone who's not a beer man at all,
Jackson knew I was coming, so he got me a local IPA made in Texas.
How local is
A
it?
Citra Slice IPA
Is it like
with citrus.
I think it's
local?
I think it's community.
Oh, that's in Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dallas
Really
beer.
local.
So yeah, and you guys are drinking Miller.
Miller Lite. It is the official beer of the Cowboys.
So what's better, the bottle or the can? Because you got both right there.
Can. I'm a can
I like
guy.
can too, yeah, but I grabbed the bottle.
Bottles, while
Okay.
great, I feel like more often than not, I'm drinking half of a warm beer in a bottle.
Yeah, they heat up a lot faster than,
Yeah.
to me, it feels like.
Like a can. I
Okay.
feel like a can. You can crush it, nail. Like you
Yeah.
know, if I'm trying to knock out a 6-pack,
For those of you that didn't know, he used to be in a fraternity.
said
Yeah.
12-pack, yeah, right.
dude, 12-pack 24. I mean, if you're trying to like crush a 6-pack of beer, go for the cans. And if you get Miller, go for the tall cans, because
Yep.
then it's more efficient if you're trying to get a little drunk,
Yep.
drink more, right?
Yep.
That's kind of the point.
So we are actually live on YouTube as well, but you already will have known that maybe because this actual video I'm filming is going to be posted a bit later, not much later though. But so we're going to be taking questions from YouTube, but also we asked for questions on Instagram. Of course, Instagram's had some glitches today, I guess, so not that many questions. But we're also just
Yeah.
going to chat. Like this is really a hangout. We don't see each other that often. Well, maybe you guys see each other more, or
Yeah, mostly at car meets very shortly, though. Like, we don't see each other that much.
they don't live super close.
Jackson's always moving or some busy stuff, so.
Dude, I'm always busy, and I know that. And I try to make plans, and then I bail like in the last minute.
That's all right. That's fine.
Oh,
Yeah, we should move it maybe up top, like by the toolbox.
It's
the lighting up
it's a
top?
solid, good-looking car. So we're all hanging out here.
Thanks, dude.
You're welcome.
I just filmed I guess a review. We all kind of filmed random stuff around Jackson's car, which you've had for how long now?
8 years.
Jesus.
Coming on 8 years, yeah.
How many cars have you had in that time frame?
At least 12.
Dude, you've had. I mean,
10 to 12.
I met you because of the Miata. You know what's wild?
The Miata was the
Same.
most consistent one I had, though.
The fact that I knew you just long enough for when you had the Miata. Like, what if you, like, the amount that you sell cars, it's almost like the Miata, shit. It's almost like, you had the Miata just to, like, meet all of us. Because, like, the amount of cars that you have, like, what if you had sold it,
You've seen
I
a
would've
lot of my
still
cars.
made you
You've seen
meet.
quite a few of my cars.
I would have still made you meet. So I'm on a huge road trip right now, and it's hilarious how many times I've seen people who live near each other and just like never hang out, or I've introduced people who had things in common, and I just play like matchmaker everywhere. Not usually romantically, sometimes, but like usually it's just like everyone I hang out with is usually cars or tech. And
Yeah.
so it makes sense that they have a lot more in common.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Should we start off with some questions? Because we have some questions from the audience, and we also wanted to just chat random things because we all play in this world of YouTube a little bit and have, I don't know, a lot of pros and cons with that. A lot of fun, a lot of frustration. Not even all YouTube specific, just like everything that goes along with it. and people don't always like know what happens behind the scenes, or I mean, they don't even watch the whole video, honestly.
I just thought about two things real quick. So one thing, if you see us looking that way, it's because we have a TV
Yeah.
with the video on it, so we're seeing questions over there. We're not ignoring you guys. We're just staring there. And also number two, the YouTube,
glancing.
yeah, the YouTube live obviously isn't mic'd, so we just probably want to talk a little loud and clear.
Yeah.
For everybody on YouTube.
That's
so.
true.
Which looks like we have somebody from Puerto Rico on here.
Yeah.
Nice.
E. Cosby, the electric Bill Cosby.
That's awesome.
I love that the dog started right now.
No, dude, that guy, if Sam hears anyone outside, he like freaks out.
Makes sense.
Two unknown voices.
So I've got a couple snarky questions from people I probably know. Good Luke Charm.
Oh Lord, what did he ask?
He asked when Jordan's going to do another smexy nude photo shoot on top of his Miata. He's been waiting years, SMH. I've never done. Oh.
Where's the first one?
I thought he asked for another, but no, just a photo shoot.
Well, why do you think he's here?
Hey, it could start right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not too late.
What better way to do it than live?
Do
we
it
could,
right
we could
now.
test out and see how quickly YouTube takes down a live stream.
Yeah, right?
No monetization.
And then
period.
we're marked pretty badly.
We'll just market it as educational.
I do, and
We'll be good.
I do enjoy the photo shoots, and I like putting myself in them. It's just a pain because it's a lot of setting up the shot, setting focus, setting all the controls, 10-second timer, photo. And then I want to do like 300 photos from that shoot, and it just takes forever.
You
So-
do a lot of photo shoots too, not just with your car. You do a lot of other, because you borrow so many cars.
Yeah, I love shooting everyone's cars.
I mean, I'm always really jealous because, like,
This backdrop.
yeah, God, like,
pisses me off.
Yes, dude. It's like
you
have
left me.
I know.
you have every reason to take pictures of cars.
Don't
out
think
there.
I don't regret it every day of my life. That I live.
I regret it, and I didn't even move from it.
He regrets it for me.
I can't wait till we fast forward 10 years and we're somehow all in Colorado.
Dude.
Or you guys be in Colorado.
I
and
just
I'll be
gotta get
somewhere
that
else.
NASA job.
Texas. I'll be in Texas.
Yeah. Taking pictures by dirty lakes.
It has
Walmarts.
Yeah, behind Walmart.
Beautiful Walmart.
It has been fun being back here, just a little bit. I mean, I got back here, immediately went. So I arrived here in Allen at the supercharger, was 0%. Oh, connection lost.
It's all right. It's still there. It's just not screen mirroring.
And I arrived in Allen with 0%, charged for a bit, and went straight to Velvet Taco, and I was kind of in heaven. Had the chicken tikka masala.
Oh,
taco.
that's my favorite, man. That's my
It's
favorite
so
one.
good. Had the
It's
Korean-
honestly probably the only one I get there now.
Korean barbecue.
Yeah, the Korean barbecue is pretty good too. I don't eat Velvet Taco much anymore. I used to when I first moved here, but I found a lot of taquerias. Like, yes, they don't have chicken tikka masala tacos,
Our pizza's here. I'll be right back.
but paying $6 for a taco was starting to get on my nerves because
Did someone order a large pizza?
Heck yeah.
All right.
Now it's a good video.
Now we got a video.
Another question here that
oh, we're about to get ragged on for having Domino's by somebody.
Dude, I will
There's always somebody who's
I will
gonna.
fight. If someone tells me Domino's is bad takeout pizza, okay, chain takeout pizza.
Chain takeout.
I will fight. I will fight you.
Yeah. So another question here that we can maybe all talk to, because Ahmad had an NC Miata, so we are like 3 NC owners of sorts. Someone asked the best ways to reduce noise in the cabin.
Oof! Don't buy a Miata.
Ahmad solved that by buying a Mercedes wagon.
I don't know. You guys have done. I don't know. Have you done anything?
I've done very little. I've mostly chased down a couple rattles I've heard, which was mostly in like the roof latch mechanisms, which is kind of just a known
That happens,
issue.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember sticking paper towels and paper in there to make it not rattle.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I have another. Wait, Jackson, I'm in a tripod for that.
Oh, do you?
Now that you've been messing with it for like 8 years,
I think the other answer I have,
throw it in that thing.
there was a lot of people doing,
Pull it out, and then.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, nice.
what was it, Dynamat in the trunk?
Yeah,
That's a big one, right?
Actually, that's a pending video. I have a bunch of sound deadening material for my doors, trunk, everything.
That's what it was.
From Mas Miata, and they've been building a kit for it, but they never actually sent me the adhesive. So I'm just waiting.
It's not. It doesn't have the adhesive back.
No, it doesn't.
Interesting.
So I did the when I did the hardtop carpet, I did the sound deadening. I did sound deadening in the back. I did Kill Mat, I think it was called.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one I've heard.
It was like a little Amazon,
Yep.
Amazon brand.
Yep.
So to me, that's probably one of the
Nice.
easiest ways to do it. Besides taking issue into normal rattles.
Yeah.
What about PRHT versus soft top? I've never driven in a soft top much. I don't know which one has more rattles and noises.
So they're actually more comparable than people realize. It's still, I think this PRHT is a little bit quieter, but it's really not much different. Like, I don't know why people make the huge deal of like, oh, PRHT is like way more quiet. It's really not much
wasn't
more
that
quiet.
quiet.
It's still a Miata, which is not really the reason to buy a Miata. Now, the ND has been impressive to me. Even the soft top ND, that's the one that has the actual like, it's more sound deadening in the actual soft top itself than previous ones. So it does the trick.
So yeah, I would say Dynamat or sound deadening is probably your best way of reducing noise. Filling in seals that are maybe like a little like I remember the seal at the top where my window would close on my PRHT though. Not a lot of people have PRHTs, which is, if you don't know, power retractable hardtop. My window wouldn't seal perfectly, so I had to do a bunch of adjustments, and I actually bought the silicone lube. That
Dude, that's what I did.
yeah,
Here. Yeah.
that Kia actually gave me when I bought my Stinger, because the Stinger had a bad problem with it. And they gave me this Kia branded silicone lube, and you just spray it, and it actually, for some reason, helped a lot with squeaks and things around the window area. And I used that on my Miata, and it worked. So
Makes sense.
That's what I did. I did the white lithium grease,
Yeah.
the silicone spray on all the seals on the hard top, and it definitely helped for sure.
But as for road noise, I think Dynamat's your only option. Dynamatting the footwell area, trunk area, doors.
Yep.
That's going to be your best option.
Yep.
So
All right, we got a question on YouTube. Hey guys, I'm watching all of your channels.
He has
have
an NC 1.8.
what's the 1.8?
That's
The Euro engine.
Oh, 1.8 is the end. Okay, I
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
I was like an NC 1.8, like NC2.
Almost NC2, but not
yeah, I was like, huh?
Hey, bought super cute muffler just for Flywheel Films review. There you go, Jordan.
Loving it.
So
Yeah.
thanks.
That's the muffler. So I made that video called "Wife Approved."
Yeah.
She did leave, but it wasn't because of the muffler. So that's a huge like asterisk there.
I had the Super Q also,
Yep.
and yeah,
I had a super Q at one point.
yeah, Super Q sounded great, especially when you did the cat delete. Like it sounded
Yeah,
awesome.
that really helps. Super Q, for anyone who doesn't know, like, just gives it a more full sound, but it's still not loud. Like 10 to 15% louder than stock, maybe, which is a small percentage on already a small decibel amount. So
Yeah, I wonder how different the 1.8 sounds from the 2.0. I've never driven to the 1.8.
I'm either. I'd really like to.
I bet it's got to sound different, right? It's probably the same,
a
like,
little bit.
it's like, I don't think the 2.5 sounds that much different from the 2.0. It's just a little different. It's like the same, I don't know. It's like, if you lost your voice, like you have the same voice, it's just like a little different. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it.
Sounds the same, actually.
Sounds the same, actually. All right, well.
Nice.
That answers that.
Who said pizza? Why wasn't I invited?
Paul Miller.
Yikes, that's awkward.
Now looks better. Oh, okay. He was saying that was the
messing,
angle.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Paul, sorry, man.
Paul says good day, so.
They won't even let me touch it. So at least you're not there. I'm just kidding.
that's because your mom's feeding you in a little bit.
You can have some.
It's because my mom said I can come.
His
over for
mom's
dinner.
his mom's got dinner.
Jackson lives like 3 minutes from my parents' house, so I'm gonna have some food when we get.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Tipsy Media asked a couple of questions. His first question: eBay Turbo? Question mark. No! Exclamation mark.
I say no as well.
Which is saying something because you've done a lot of random stuff, and you're still saying no.
Well, it's like, if you want to buy in like an eBay lip or, you know, eBay intake, that's not something that could like genuinely hurt your engine, you know? Like there's like the research behind it, the development behind it. There's no like product testing. Like you throw an intake on and it'll be okay. It'll sound good, it'll work, but like that's a lot of trust in like not blowing a turbo. Not blowing up your engine.
Yeah.
I guess my only thought is there's plenty of YouTube channels where I follow where they will buy eBay turbos and they know what they're getting. They're getting a cheaper turbo and they do it they know that they're going to probably blow it, but it's a cheap way to experiment to see how much. I don't know. I don't disagree with it, but if it's like if you don't have the money to keep doing it, then maybe just get the good one the first time.
Well, here's the thing: if I had an NC1 and I was like, you know what, this engine's not as strong, I'm gonna have some fun. and if I was more mechanically inclined, I'd probably be I'm the type of person that would do that. And I would have time and help me. The guy who commented,
Yeah.
eBay Turbo.
I'm sure it's fun.
Not on your daily driver, I guess.
But maybe not on my daily either. Yeah, I'd have to have another car because I would expect things to go wrong and be okay if it did go wrong. So his second question is asking about the favorite car that I've crashed. I think I've only crashed 3 cars. One was my Oldsmobile Olds 88. Good riddance. Then I crashed a Mazda Protege. I missed that car.
A hatchback or
It was just a sedan.
sedan?
Not even that fun, but that was my first like sort of fun car. I mean, I went from an Oldsmobile to that, so like super zippy and nimble and fun comparatively speaking. And then I crashed a Tesla Model S Plaid. So that's probably the favorite car I've
That's
crashed.
the claim to fame, yeah.
And I still drive it because it's fixed now, and some reason he lets me drive it.
It's fixed now.
Before we move on from Tipsy Media, he sent me a question.
Oh, what do you say?
He said, "Why doesn't Jordan have a turbo yet?"
So I guess to follow up on the eBay Turbo question, I'm gonna get the Flying Miata Turbo, like as soon as it's ready, which is hopefully
I thought they started selling it already.
like they're still developing it.
Wow.
6 months ish is the rough guess, but
Is
don't
that-
quote me on that. And those are not like official metrics or numbers. Those are just like ballparks that they've also shared. Just sometime in 2024 is kind of the rough guess. Actually, pretty educated guess. That's a long time frame.
Can either of you try the Dynatronics rear turbo? I actually got my car when I moved to. So my Miata was supercharged, and Dynatronics was the one who gave me the tune for my supercharged Miata. And when I moved to Texas, I actually took it down to him, and he made a few comments about like, hey, I've got this rear turbo kit. I remember like a couple years ago, maybe 4 years ago, was it Hendrix? There was a guy and Dynatronics were battling each other. There was 2 rear turbo kits.
Oh yeah.
What was his name?
Well,
They're both in the same
was
area.
Armand. Yeah.
Hendrix or something. Hendrix.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know what a rear turbo was until I saw both of theirs set up. And I mean, I don't think any of us are in a position that we're going to try it. Well, I can't anyway.
Well, it just got released for sale, like officially. The Dynatronics.
Okay, so Armand must have had one.
He had
before
one,
then.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess short answer is I don't think any of us, because you've got your eyes on the Flying Miata one. You're not in a position where you're not planning on turboing anytime soon.
And I have to worry about emissions restrictions in Colorado. We're not quite CARB, but we're going that direction.
Oh, he said it may not get carb cert.
It may not get
And
carbs.
D Adams, I can tell you it's probably not going to get CARB. Like that is such a hard process, and Flying Miata's like discovered that, and they know that a lot of their stuff is CARB compliant, and that's one unique perspective. A lot of people ask like, well, what about Fab 9 Turbo, the GT Turbo versus Flying Miata Turbo? They're a little different, but they'll both do the job. And with the Fab 9 one, you can't pass certain stricter emissions, but also maybe there's a bit more headroom for more power.
I think there's less limitations for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, so I want to ask something. So carb certification is something from California, right? Like that's what they call it there?
California Air or something.
California Air Regulatory Board.
So it is
Yeah.
Cali really. Okay,
Yeah.
so let me ask you this, because I was talking to somebody about this. Cali has really strict laws, everybody knows that. Yet somehow most of the cars I follow on Instagram that are heavily modified are from Cali. How are this many people getting away with not having carbs? Are you guys literally swapping back and forth when you're doing your emissions? Are you registering your cars in like Montana or something? Like,
Both.
how do most people do it?
Well, both.
Because there's a
and-
lot.
Both and more. There are like probably some sketchy loophole workarounds. Not even loopholes. Like that even denotes like some sort of legality. Like literally probably sketchy shops that are like,
They're wearing $100 bills for glasses.
yeah, something like that. And a lot of those shops I do get like caught and shut down because it's a huge like legal
Initiative,
problem.
yeah.
And a lot of people do Montana or other states, like they'll register with family in other states, like not just Montana. Like there's a ton of states that don't care about emissions, but they'll do like Montana anyways because of like the tax reasons.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people do, like they'll try to take the most simple route possible to do like crazy power and stuff because it's simpler to revert back to stock for testing. And I think it's probably yearly, but maybe it's 2 years. In Colorado, it's every 2 years.
Yeah. So they do have a little bit more time. Yeah.
Colorado's also by county now, which Texas, we're not getting rid. We're not getting rid of emissions, but we're getting rid of every other test, like tint
Yes.
and everything.
I think that's a really frustrating thing is how
in certain counties.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's really frustrating for me to, as someone who's like had to get tunes to like get check engine lights removed, and you can't do that anymore. So like I'm stuck with both of my tunes because the EPA doesn't let, Cobb or anyone else mess with the secondary O2 sensors. So you can't even adjust those variables. It's really frustrating to me that in the eyes of the government, someone can drive around a Nissan Altima with a bumper hanging off, a headlight out, a taillight out, bald tires, window tint. As long as they've got a catalytic converter, they can drive on the road. And it's incredibly frustrating because I have a catalytic converter on both my cars, but in the eyes of the EPA, it's not legal.
I guess the argument would be one's impacting the environment, the other one's just unsafe.
It's totally unsafe. 100%.
Yeah.
Like you're going to be driving next to people on a Texas highway. Everyone's going to be going 85 and it's going to be raining and there's going to be somebody driving on bald tires because they can with their windshield wipers that don't work because they can and just crashing and it's probably not going to be that bad, but it's going to it's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's my. I mean, that could take me on a whole government overreach argument tangent.
Let's not
thing.
get political on this one.
Because it's just frustrating. Like even with electrification, like all these initiatives on like we want everyone to be 100% electric by this time. It's like, well, the 0.2% of people who are like hardcore car enthusiasts are not the problem when it comes to pollution.
Yes, exactly.
Like it's commercial vehicles, fleet vehicles,
Boats,
the vast
planes,
majority of people on the road, like, great, make mandates for them and have exceptions for, I don't know how you do those exceptions. People smarter than me can figure that out, but it's like, it's very frustrating that we are like dragged into this when it's really just a hobbyist thing for us, really. And I don't know, the blanket statement regulations can get really frustrating.
I also feel like there's an opportunity for high flow cats to become a little bit cheaper because, man, I mean, high flow cats are like the only real solution, right? Legal solution. And even then, some high flow cats will throw codes.
Yeah, but both of mine do.
Yeah. But it's just
if they're
like,
not carb certified, then that doesn't help California.
oh, yeah,
Like
that's true.
California, you can't just throw a cat in. It has to be OEM,
Yeah.
which is mine.
Well, I love California, but man, it'd be hard to be a car enthusiast there.
Yeah, same. So
Right, yeah.
I'm gonna get the Flying Miata kit and then I'll move to California.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Got other questions? In
Yeah,
there?
another one. Someone asked, which of the two NCs would you rather have as a daily and why?
Oh my.
Between your guys'
Yeah.
NCs?
I think that's an easy answer.
Well, it's funny. I think we
Do
have
you
different
like
answers.
air conditioning?
Hey man, mine's got air conditioning.
I think we have different answers.
I think you said you don't.
It's not charged.
Oh,
It's there.
okay, yeah.
It's there. It
physically
exists.
there,
Emo has a charger in his garage for his EV6.
yeah. All right,
Like
Dad.
like charged AC.
Yeah, that was a dad
Free
joke.
oh,
He's the only one here not a dad, and you made a dad joke.
there you go.
Ironically, like if we were in Colorado, I'd pick Jackson's, but I'm also the person who would like love to daily drive a Lotus Elise, which is like the most raw, like ethereal experience. I don't know.
I think it's two different demographics, right? There's under the radar a little bit, where Jordan's is getting to be a little less under the radar as you mod more of it, stands out more and
Yeah.
more. And then there's like I drew this car in like 5th grade, and it looks awesome, cool right here. And it sucks because like to your point, having both in your garage would be awesome. But if I'm going to daily drive one, I don't know. I guess I'm 40, so you're asking me at the wrong time. I want to say Jordan.
I'd pick Jordan.
But from looks, like I love driving in cars that turn heads. I don't know. It's not like an ego thing. It's just I've always just driven unique cars. I've talked about this on my channel, and I give up a lot of comfort for looks
Yeah.
because I feel like it's just this experience. It's like part of what I like doing. So
I want kids to like do this.
yeah. Not at my bald spot, but at the car. Yeah.
That's why we wear hats.
Yeah, that's why we wear hats. But yeah, so I guess if you want, like I said, it's very different now. In the winter, I'd probably definitely take yours, obviously, because you'll be ripping off side skirts and things
Well,
like
Jordan
that.
has you. I mean,
I have
you're on your way.
I have AC and I
Yeah,
have
but he
heated
doesn't.
seats.
Yeah.
So like harsh weather, like I have AC, and then for the winter I have like actual like snow, ice tires, and heated seats.
you
So
have
I'm
a
like
power retracting hardtop
and a
too.
retractable hardtop.
Man, you're just basically describing my. I choose my old Miata.
Yeah, why'd you
Yeah.
sell that?
Sold it.
I had winter tires. I had 2 sets of winter tires. Yeah.
Really, this was just an intervention.
Yeah, it's a mod.
That car's still in Dallas somewhere, so the guy still
That means
has
you
it.
could buy it back.
Nah.
Dude,
Build
I do have
a-
a question for you
build an
guys.
ND.
What cars have you owned that you would like actively search out to buy back?
Oh.
Oh, I know one. Let me finish. I'm gonna finish eating my
Shit,
food.
man, that's a loaded question because I've had a lot.
I was gonna say,
I think the one I regret the most, I don't want to say regret the most, but like if I had an opportunity to get it back just to be able to build it, it would be the Corvette. And I owned the C5 for a very, very short period of time. And it
so
needed.
short that I missed it. Like,
Yeah.
I visit here
Austin drove
decently
it.
often,
Yeah,
but like,
Austin drove it.
it wasn't often enough. I literally missed one of my grandchildren through you.
I feel like that car had a lot of potential that I never got to tap into.
Yeah.
But when it comes to missing a car, oh man, I loved my Stinger. So I don't know. I mean, the Golf R I think is probably the biggest one. Like my Golf R Stage 2, I had a Stage 2. I spent so much money going Stage 2, and it wasn't just the tune because everybody's like, oh, that's only a few $100.
Yeah, you gotta get
But
the
I did the clutch.
Yeah.
And paying for the clutch and then paying for the install, like I spent $3 to $4K on that thing, and then 3 months later sold it.
That was a fun car.
And I'm not saying like have sympathy for me. It's a stupid decision I made to do it, but that's probably the biggest regret I have is selling that car.
Yeah.
Because the S4 was the one that followed it.
Yep.
S4 was good, but it didn't do anything great.
And
It was
nearly-
like a jack of
nearly
all
stranded
trades.
You.
Huh?
Nearly stranded you.
And it stranded me. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. But yeah, the S4 is like a jack of all trades. It does everything good.
Yeah.
But there's nothing that stands out about it.
It's no RS6.
There's no RS6. And, the people will be like, well, you bought a Mercedes wagon. It's like, yeah, sure, it doesn't perform as well as the S4, but it's a wagon. It looks cool as hell.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wagons turn heads. Every time every time. I've been to Europe like twice, and every time, all I do is look at wagons.
Wagons, yeah.
And both times I've landed, I got out of the airport, and the first thing I saw was like an Alfa Romeo wagon that we never got in the States, and I was like, that's so freaking cool. And that person, I guarantee, just gets in their car, drives to work, doesn't even think about what they're driving. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
They don't realize it.
No.
Because that's just, wagons are like
They're
their
cabs.
SUVs.
They're
so
cabs
useful.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, people over there
The
have
E220Ds are like cabs in Germany. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need an SUV for like everything. Like you can buy a wagon and
But I want to sit high. I like to sit high.
yeah.
The SUV thing is fascinating, and we're even in this weird place where we have like I'd say the what is it? The Polestar 2 is kind of like an SUV-ified sedan.
They're
like
doing that cross tour thing.
Yeah, and the new Toyota Crown is like
Yeah.
a lifted, and then they took the Crown and made it more of a wagon shape now,
Yeah.
and it's becoming more like an SUV.
Well, on the new Hyundai or Genesis GV90, they're calling it a sports sedan, something like that. They're not calling it an SUV. They're calling it a sports sedan or something. And I'm like, that looks like an SUV that's used to be a wagon. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like just a weird hybrid.
Well, look at the Civic. The Civic's a perfect example. It's like kind of a hatchback, but
Liftback is the move. I love liftbacks. The Civic.
as long as the proportions are good.
Acura.
Because you can screw those proportions up.
TSX.
like the FL5.
Yeah.
What about your car?
I know you like the FL5.
Yeah, the FL5.
So the one car, and I haven't had many cars, but my old Kia. So if you guys how long have you guys watched like Mighty Car Mods for? Like
A decent amount, yeah.
So they had that Mitsubishi Mirage,
Oh, yeah.
and it was like a piece of shit, and they fixed it up to be a little track car. And I went and looked. My Kia Spectra blew on the highway, and I towed it to a Firestone. Never saw it again. Never, like that was it. It was gone. Didn't exist anymore to me. And I had modified that car, and like to be fair, it was short of like this was before I knew about like wheel spacers and stuff. It was short of a set of wheel spacers from like looking kind of okay. I found the auction site that had it listed on their insurance lot, and like someone bought it. And I saw the pictures of it sitting there, and like it made me kind of sad. It was like kind of seeing like like if your dog went to someone else's house and they like took pictures with it, it was like, oh, it's like that was kind of mine. Like it's not really yours anymore. But anyways, if I could get that car back and like just gut it and turn it into like a little front wheel drive, because it's just like a Kia. It's just Kia's 2.0 little beta. It was a beta 2 engine, which is essentially like Mazda's Duratec, Mazda and Ford Duratec.
Yep.
It's the same kind of thing. It's just like a little reliable engine as long as you change the oil on it and everything. Jackson didn't do that, but that's kind of just for fun. I think it would be fun to get it back. And it's funny because I helped my brother do some work on his car. He had a Kia Spectra, and it was weird to be able to go through it and just like I remembered where every nut and bolt was. Like it would just be fun to revisit that car knowing all the things that I know now compared to when I was trying to modify it as a teenager.
Yeah.
We did get a question up here. Hey guys, thanks for contributing NC content onto YouTube. Great style. I enjoy the edits and play them when working on my own NC. All right, that's good. Question is, have any of you thought seriously about undercarriage area?
Aero.
Oh, Aero.
Undercarriage arrow.
Undercarriage Aero.
What do you mean? Like, not side splitters?
Well, so like Tesla, for example, in fact, the direct use case. I'm struggling with words.
Said IPA, that one IPA.
This Tesla I'm road tripping right now, range is rough. Like, it's old. It's a 2019. That's weird calling that old.
Good lord.
140,000 miles, so it's about 12% battery degradation that we've measured. It doesn't have the aero wheels, so that's something against my range. I've been road tripping, at least when I was up in the northern Midwest, cold temperatures, that kills range. And this doesn't have the undercarriage aero that the new Model 3 has. So where the new Model 3 is literally just flat, this one has a bunch of little crevices and things that just go against your aerodynamics. With cars, like, major super hyper sports cars, they'll focus heavily on that flat. It's a mixture of being perfectly flat with very specific canards to like guide airflow. I don't think we would notice anything.
No, and I have the LRB front panel, which is all flat. I have the LRB Aero panel, which goes underneath where like your oil filter is, and then I have the trans panel. So I have as much paneling underneath the car up to where like the midway point of the car where the transmission ends. And it's like you said, you can throw a flat panel under there and it'd be fine, but there's canards to it. There's the way that engineers, and I know we make the joke, but genuinely when it comes to like fluid dynamics, the engineers do know how to engineer that. And I don't think our Miatas would have to go 150 miles an hour before we even probably could tell that it was adjusting something.
Yep.
So it's cool. Like, I think it's cool. If anything, maybe it protects your undercarriage. Like, if I was driving in the snow like you, Jordan, I'd probably upgrade to the metal under trays and things like that. But otherwise, you could probably save your money, I think.
Yeah.
Especially for something you don't see.
Unless you like really want to do it.
Yeah, if you want to do it, do
For the
it.
sake of like, oh, this is cool. Like when
Yeah.
you like wear really cool socks and you don't even see them behind your shorts or pants or shoes or whatever.
Yeah, one of them tight pants that go up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Rolled pants.
Hey, what, are we done with that question?
Yeah.
You didn't answer which car you regret. Or you could go back.
In a little ways, all
Don't
of
say
them.
the Fiat. Please don't say the Fiat.
In a little ways, all of them.
You son of a bitch.
If the Fiat was like, if it had been dirt cheap or like free, I would love to just have that in my fleet forever because it was genuinely kind of fun. If it was a manual, I probably would have regretted selling it. It was Fiat's absolute trash. I mean, FCA's trash, like auto. 2015 6-speed automatic. I didn't know what people meant by slush box until I had that car. And I was like, oh, this is what imprecise shifting that has no idea what you actually want means. So I regret that. I also regret selling actually I just gave away my first car, the 1987 Dodge Aries K, the Reliant K.
Is that the one you got from your grandma or something?
My friend's grandma. It was a barn find, actual barn, like sitting in a barn. It had like 40,000 miles on it, original miles, like literally sat forever. I bought it for $200, spent maybe 250 to get it running, and then it got me all the way through college. Didn't have working AC or locking doors or clock or radio or anything.
It's like my Miata. It's just like my Miata, dude.
It had 4, sometimes 3 cylinders, and it was just like,
It was just ahead of the curve with the cylinder shut off.
yeah.
That now Corvette stole
Yes,
from there.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
It was just, and it was brown on beige, 6 seats for being a car not much bigger than a Miata. Like, that thing was freaking cool, and I kind of regret giving it away. I would have kept that forever, just as like a silly. I had like a Dodge Ram 1952 hood ornament on the front, like a fat metal Ram like on the hood. It just looked stupid and cool, and I kind of liked it. And I regret my Miata, the last Miata.
Does
Should've kept
anyone
it.
Okay.
anyone need anything?
Corona.
No, I'm
You
all right.
need- you need a
I got 2 questions from
right.
the same person.
Shoot.
Who just happens to be my sister. Number
You have a
1.
bottle opener.
Yeah, I need one.
How do you
seen
eat your
the,
bananas?
Seen the Miata trick?
The Miata
hold
trick?
on,
Do you
hold
have a bottle opener in your Miata?
Dude, it comes equipped. Check this shit out.
Oh my gosh.
Put it right in here. In the little door slot.
Oh, the little thing that I got the Flying Miata version of?
No, this the door.
The door jam thing?
Glass broke a little bit, but
I'll just
You're
you
gonna
should
die.
be all good.
Your esophagus is gonna die.
You should be all good.
You might want to take that shard off.
Do you want me to get you a glass, Jordan?
maybe a glass would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that
Normally it doesn't. Normally it doesn't do that.
That
but
works really
is-
well,
That
man.
is the trick. See, I mean, it
Top
took,
off.
It took the whole top off. I mean, isn't that the point of a bottle
aggressive.
opener? It opened it, did it not?
This is why he drinks cans.
Yeah. Doesn't know how to open a bottle.
What'd your sister ask?
Number 1. The second question is good. This one's kind of random. How do you eat your bananas? Whole or sliced? Who the hell slices their banana?
Well, so I
Like,
prefer
unless it-
sliced, but I don't have a servant slice my bananas, so I eat it whole out of laziness.
I am gonna make you drink out of a Miller Lite glass, though.
How do you eat your bananas? Whole or sliced or deep throat?
The long, I eat my bananas the long way.
I don't even want to get into the details of that. Okay, I like this question though. Oh, my answer, I just eat them whole. I don't think I eat them sliced unless they're already like sliced in front of me for some reason.
Whole would be easier.
Is a banana fancier if it's sliced?
yeah.
Like a pizza, if you like
If you
cut it with a
slice
fork
it
and a knife.
and put it on bread, you can charge like $14.
Yeah, like avocado.
Yeah, just like avocado.
Okay, serious note. When did you guys realize you had a passion for cars? Like, what was like that first memory? And then she said,
That's a
What's
good
up,
question.
why was it after watching Tokyo Drift?
Not Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, mine was well before Tokyo
Let's
Drift.
get into it.
Yeah. I know my answer. You go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, so let me preface this because when I think of mine was like an era where I was like, you know
Yeah.
what? I think this is kind of cool. But I'm trying to identify that one point where I was like, I have this car and I know exactly what car it was and what I saw that helped me push through it. But I want to know what yours is.
So in high school, well, I guess back up. I've always like enjoyed Top Gear, like since I was honestly pretty little. But I was never like really into cars. And then actually in high school, I worked like just did like maintenance, like cleaning the building. And my boss, the head of maintenance, bought a red sports car, and I was like, wow, he must make big money. Of course, it was a actually pretty good condition, but cheap 1990 Miata. And I was like, this is pretty cool. And he was like a tall guy, I mean 6'2" maybe, like kind of a big guy too. And he just like bought it and loved it. And I was like, that's cool. So that like really intrigued me. I think it was kind of Miatas early on. But I never really thought about them that much. I just thought that's cool. I think I like small, nimble cars. And my brother, Austin, was probably what got me into cars the most. Like, he came, when I lived in Dallas or Fort Worth, he came down and lived with me, and he worked at Tesla and just kind of like got into car culture. He bought a manual car. First, he bought a 2000 Celica GTS, fun car. That's the first car I drove manual, and that made me think I didn't want a manual because it was such a shitty manual. But he's kind of, I think, been the catalyst that's pushed me into cars. And then we had the idea of like, well, let's start this thing for like doing car, photos and like kind of figure out. I've always been intrigued by video production and did some of it for a job at one point. And I was like, well, let's try this thing. So we threw out some names, and finally like Flywheel Films was like rolled off the tongue. So that was always intended to be like, I've always enjoyed since I've been into cars, cinematic car videos, like really stunning ones, like HeartNet Media and Halcyon, and like some of those
Savage
guys.
Geese is pretty good.
Savage Geese are, yeah.
I think they were one of the first ones where I was like, damn, this cinematic stuff is
and they make objectively beautiful things, but I wouldn't call them necessarily creative.
I think it goes back to what you said about Top Gear.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it is for me too. Just the creative mind of a car is more than a car when you know take a video of it or photo of it, like you said.
And you can, through cinematic elements, you can make even mediocre cars look pretty good. I mean, even later, like in the past couple of years when I've had to do more photo shoots of cars that are objectively not interesting, like a CUV, figuring out how to take photos of it that make it look kind of cool.
Yeah.
Which is usually because there's mountains behind it, but
You live in Colorado.
I should focus on the mountains and make the car blurry and just
Yeah.
do every single
Look
angle.
at this. Look at this.
Yeah, fits in anywhere.
Yeah. But I feel like Top Gear, and I've always been into Top Gear.
What
still.
year was this? What year was it where you're like, I love cars?
It was gradual, but I feel like high school was like they were on my radar, and I guess I grew up. I mean, really early, like I don't know, first grade. I remember playing like Need for Speed 2 and Need for Speed
Yeah.
3, Hot Pursuit, and like I made my way through those. It was like early car games and Lego Racers, Mario
hell
Kart.
yeah.
Like I got really into those, and so that was more of like because the video game aspect. But I think I was always intrigued by cars, by those. And like the first car I ever was like, I want that on my wall as a poster was the Ford GT90 concept from the '90s that was in Lego Race or not Lego Race, Need for Speed 2. So that was like the early taste, but really it was like, I guess post college when I really got into what I consider like being a car guy. Like until I started doing stuff with Austin, I literally couldn't tell you like brake rotor from a caliper. Like it was never that kind of car guy. It was more just like, oh, cool Lamborghini.
Yeah, you liked cars.
And now I look at a Lamborghini, I'm like, pathetic. And then I see like a red Kia Soul, I'm like, sick.
Hell yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, so when I was back when we were living in Chicago, my best friend was Jimmy Carbone. Jimmy Carbone follows me on Instagram.
Most Italian name ever.
Oh, they were Italian, dude. I don't know if he follows me on Instagram. I don't know if he follows me on here, but Jimmy Carbone, if you're watching, shout out you. So he had this huge collection of keys. He collected keys, and the car keys were like the cool ones. Remember, he had keys that said Ford, Jag. He had Jag keys. That was the coolest one because it was like, Jag's a nice car. Like this belongs to a nice car. And I think it was that intrigue of having a key that you knew went to something like special. Like certain cars were more special than others. Well, you got a Chevy key, but you got a Mercedes key. Oh shit! Like that's pretty good. And that for sure continued on to where I started collecting keys, and I wanted to get car keys, and I knew, going around cars, you could collect that car key, and that branched out into collecting Hot Wheels, and then that branched into the video games. Like I remember playing Lego Racers, and it was like, you can make your own in real life. So I would make like Lego race cars and all that stuff, tracks, things like that. And during the 90s, especially, you had like I wouldn't say the peak of NASCAR, but kind of the tail end of it when you had Dale Earnhardt and all of them. And it was like, that was cool. You could watch cars racing on TV and all of that stuff. And then really in high school, when you started getting your license and everything, I will say the thing that reinvigorated me the most was, car-wise, was like Scion. Scion had the TC, the XB, and all those. And they were like made to be modified. Like you could go online. I'd go online and just make my dream Honda or Scion TC.
Yep.
Yeah.
You'd like spec them out.
It was a cool model that they did.
They were
There was
cool,
a
right?
marketing
It was a
behind
good idea.
It was like, here's a Toyota, but like a cool, fun.
Yeah.
cool version.
It's like you can custom. You could put neon lights in the floorboards from the factory.
Yeah.
I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen, and that's what got me into modifying cars. And then, I didn't really know too much about it after that. I just, had played Need for Speed, and I'd play Forza and stuff like that, and I just really liked cars. But I think after the whole Kia thing, when I realized, like, when you get a Miata, you realize, like, wow, there's like cars out there that are really, really good. Like, it took my Mazda to be like, to appreciate cars more,
Yeah.
just the way they are. I'm all about modifying them, obviously, but yeah, after that is, you know, now it's like, man, I could talk about cars all day, just like you guys can. You could talk about cars all day, and you know more. You like have knowledge that other people don't, and you can share it and everything. And that's kind of how it all started for me back in Chicago, Illinois, Jimmy Carbone's closet where he kept his key collection.
Jimmy boy, dude.
Jimmy.
Savage geese are in Chicago, and they're so cynical about life. I feel like that's because of Chicago. It's just like
Midwestern people are
I
great.
thought you were rolling something. I was like,
Rolling something? Yeah, you want some?
mine was like you guys triggered a lot of memories that I hadn't even thought about when it comes to cars because this question's come
good
up a million
counseling right
times. Yeah, I know. It's really, so like I grew up in Saudi Arabia, so Saudi Arabia car culture wasn't like car culture. I'm also way older than you guys are. I'm 40. So my biggest car memories earlier is like the Tonka trucks. My parents gave us Tonka trucks. We had matchboxes, things like that. But at the time, it was just toys. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna own one of these when I get older. And then it was Trapper Keepers for me because like the Trapper Keepers with like the Ferrari Testarossas and Lamborghini Diablos on there.
What's a Trapper Keeper?
Holy shit!
Is it
it's
like
like a
the-
binder?
Oh, okay.
And it had like the folders
Yep,
inside
I
it,
got
and then
you, yeah.
you would get like you could get like different designs on them. I always had the car ones, and then honestly, like I forgot about cars. I didn't really like. I always thought they were cool. I played a lot of games. Like you guys probably don't know the game Test Drive. I played Test Drive. There was Need for
I
Speed.
played Test Drive 6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
remember
played
that
1,
game.
2, and 3.
Oh wow.
And then there was this game called Screamer Screamer came out in 1995 or 94, and it was the first game that went from VGA to SVGA.
Oh.
And you needed a good computer to run it. My brother bought a Pentium, the first Pentium generation that came out.
Dang.
And we played this game on, and it had drifting. Like, I didn't know what that stuff was, but it was awesome. That game triggered cars. And then high school, I didn't care about cars. I went overseas for high school in England, and nobody had a car. We didn't care. We skateboarded. Moved here, bought a Ford Tempo. My dad was like, here's $2,000, go get a car. Bought a Ford Tempo for $1,800.
Nice.
I was like, I just need something for college. I don't have any money. My parents aren't rich. And totaled it because somebody ran into the headlight in a parking lot and randomly was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy a Honda Civic. I bought a Civic DX, a 96 Civic DX, 1.6 liter, 106 horsepower, automatic.
Yep.
Man, this car was like, and then Fast and the Furious came out that year.
Yeah.
This was 2001. First Fast and the Furious came out. Man, did I go buddy club on that thing with a, I didn't know anything about cars and I ordered everything. I got
The
body
modifications
kit.
started 20
Yeah,
years
I got
ago. That's
TSW
crazy.
Rebos. First wheels I ever bought, TSW Rebos. I remember them because they got stolen.
Oh, yikes.
Because my car got stolen and they found it in Harry Hines on blocks.
Dang.
Yeah, dude, it was so riced out. They stole anything.
Dude, that's such a Dallas thing to happen, too. It was stolen and found on Harry
You know how
Hines
long
with
it
no
took
wheels.
me to? It took me so long. I worked at Albertsons. It took me so long to save for those wheels.
Yep.
And the guy who, long story short, the guy who ended up selling me them is the one who stole them.
Oh.
Because he worked at the discount tire right behind Circuit City in Louisville, which Circuit City doesn't exist anymore. And I bought them from him, and he had them for sale again after he stole them back from me. And I couldn't do anything about it because I didn't have any receipts. I was dumb back then.
Yeah.
And internet wasn't that big of a thing back at that point. I had dial-up internet. So anyway, long story short, that's Civic and Fast and the Furious. And I'm not a big Fast and the Furious nerd. So I don't want it to be
I
like this
am.
cliche answer.
Oh yeah. Well,
I did enjoy the first one a lot and it introduced me to the world of it. But I was a big Civic guy, and that's what I sucked to. I didn't care about Evos because they were out of my price range.
Yeah.
Civics and Del Sols and things were like that in my
Yeah.
price range. So
I think I am a big Fast and Furious fan, like huge. I can objectively say though, a lot of them are pretty terrible movies, like as far as movies go for the critic eye. But I enjoy the facet they sit in within car culture, and honestly, the first Fast and Furious has a lot of effect on the industry and like
Oh, yeah. It
aftermarket.
changed
it
Modding.
launched it. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
and
made
so-
eBay what it is. Too.
you have to like recognize that, and now we have YouTube, which is like I consume more YouTube than any other streaming
Yeah.
service or anything, and it's
Yeah.
mostly car related content. It is stuff from like Savage Geese or Haggerty or like guys who are doing fun stuff and Gears and Gasoline. Like I enjoy consuming a lot of it, and so that's really why I decided to start it. Was like I watch enough, and I'm like, well, I should just make it, and then I realized, wow, these guys are putting way more effort than I can really handle. So, but you know, it's hard. Like it's like you know, you can infinitely compare yourself to other things.
Yeah.
It's like that's not fair. That's a quick way to go to like a mind dump area. And so it's like, well, I at least do the best I can and enjoy. Like, you know, it's always been like I'll make what I would watch because like I don't have like high standards either. I appreciate great content, but like the stuff I watch is like all over the place.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be high quality at all.
No, it's more about portraying information or mindsets.
Even just like the chemistry, like if you feel like you connect with a person, to me that's like Throttle House is my favorite, and
Oh
it's
my
because
gosh,
the
yeah.
banter between them is so good.
Yep.
It doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel natural or unnatural.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, I don't want, but we have a few questions that we should probably address pretty quickly.
Yeah, I got one up there, and then I also have a question for you guys. So we'll start with this because I got a bone to pick with this question.
In your option,
Can you recommend any wings for NC that is bigger than small spoilers, but more subtle than that big thing behind you?
Oh,
So I have a good answer. for
Like
this.
you were so pissed that you skipped a question.
In your
Right
opinion,
above it.
describe what okay. All right, we'll start with that one. In your own opinions, describe what modifications take a car from daily status to street status and track status.
Caliper covers.
I don't know the difference. What?
Oh, I've got a good. I read that one and I remember I made an answer for it. Caliper covers, yes, 100%.
We're kidding.
I think tires. If you're
Tires is huge.
if you're gonna do anything in like track tires, they're so consumable. Like if you put a 200 treadwear tire on your daily, you're gonna run through those tires.
You're blowing through money.
Right, you're blowing through
It's
money.
one thing if you really want to carve those intersections better than anyone else, but
Right.
I
And-
think there's a limit.
Yeah, and in defense
so
of
you-
that is going to make your daily a track car. The moment you put, if you do nothing else, if you put track tires on your Mercedes, you are going to go around the track faster than you would
Yeah.
with a set of, all seasons.
Tires are huge. Yeah.
I think-
And they're expensive.
Yeah, tires and then quality suspension upgrades, like specific suspension upgrades. And it's very different based on car. Some cars respond so well to sway bars. Some don't respond that much because they're already, like the Miata responds really well to a rear sway bar.
Yep.
The NC does.
Yeah.
But to me, that's a big one. And ride height is a big one. Like, and bubbly suspension. If you can get rid of any bubbly suspension on top of tires, those are just two things that immediately make your car awesome.
And while you're doing tires, just do wheels.
And it's just
Splitter,
it
plastic
just
dip,
snowballs.
yeah.
Mud flaps.
While you got your wheels off, you can do your caliper
Yeah.
covers.
But yeah, so I would say definitely. And then track status, you guys pay attention to like things like brake fluid for temperature, for temps.
Yes, brake fluid for sure. Things that, like what is it, the dot 3, dot 4?
4, yeah.
Yeah, like you don't need that. And it's gonna make, like in brake pads especially, like if you buy like a set of track pads, when you start off in your car in the morning and you like go to stop at that first stoplight, you're not gonna stop very well. Like it's not gonna stop and it's gonna squeak and get dusty. So yeah, I'd say any consumable.
Yeah.
Tires, brake pads.
But those are some of the
all that.
upgrades that make the biggest differences.
Oh yeah, and that's
You
why
can do
people do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully that answers
So I
that
feel like
question.
he says daily, street, and track. I don't know exactly where those cross over each other, but like I guess you could say my build is quote unquote street
Yours is street.
because
yeah.
I don't want daily as in like boring appliance, but I also don't want to like drive a track car daily. Although I really would like I would love to daily a BAC mono, but I feel like I kind of have dialed mine into the middle. And although I've gone 200 treadwear tires on the last, I guess, year and a half, I'll probably go a bit less aggressive next time around.
Yeah.
But you also use different tires for half the year. Too.
Yeah, I also don't do the like one size fits all. Like in winter it's Nokians, in summer it's been PS4S, but I might do, I don't know. I'm still figuring out tires for next summer. So if anyone has recommendations, let me know.
Yeah, I think like my short answer is between street and track, there's a lot of street cars you can track. But depending on how hard you're tracking them, you'll immediately start seeing the shortcomings. Like in my G35, when I started tracking it, the first thing I noticed is the clutch got like upgrading your clutch is huge on track use, especially if you're doing a lot of shifting and things like that. So there's things that you don't necessarily need for a street car that you only really need because you're about to track it, like upgraded clutches, upgraded brake fluid, upgraded coolant, and things that you don't really think about that you need until you really rag on your car. And even like minimal things like camber adjustment. You don't need negative camber on the street, but on a track, negative camber is awesome. So it's just things like that are like just small refinements to make your car a little bit more capable of being pushed to its limits.
Yeah.
So, And a good torque wrench. You need a good torque
You
wrench.
need a good torque wrench. You need a good torque wrench.
For the survival of the corner guy at the track and for your survival.
So now are you going to answer the wing question?
Yes,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
going to answer the wing question. The wing question? The wing question.
Okay, say that question again because it sounded mean.
So
He ended it with a smiley face, though.
He ended it with
Caveat.
a
passive aggressive mean.
He
Okay,
wrote,
cool.
yeah, he ended. So he said, "What's a good spoiler that's bigger than a small
Is your stuff still
spoiler?"
recording? You want to double check it? That'd be messed up if it,
It should
stopped.
be. No, but we should be good. Yeah, are you questioning this iPhone 15 Pro Max battery life?
I love how he said it. It's like it was like when Miata people go, "I have a 2011 NC3 PRHT." Like you named it the whole thing out. Anyways, he said, "Recommend a wing for an NC that is bigger than small spoilers, but more subtle than that big thing behind you." So I will say the big thing behind me is genuinely, if you want a spoiler that looks like this, it's the smallest one because you can get like the 9 Lives, you can get race bred stuff. There's spoilers that are huge, that are way bigger than the one I have. Smaller than this, name brand besides buying like an
There's
eBay
probably
one.
honestly, there's probably tons of options. I just don't know them.
There's a ton, and I have done a lot of digging into them, and I feel like basically me and you have the only 2 spoilers I would ever consider.
Yeah.
Because
The little
there's a
carbon
lot.
duck, yeah.
There's
Duckbill's
a
so
few
good.
there's a few in between. There's some smaller than mine. There's some bigger than yours, and I feel
Yeah.
like the 2 we have kind of picked the 2 sizes that I feel like are like that's looks good on the car.
Okay, so my thing with this spoiler, I know you're ragging on it because it's really big. You cannot put this spoiler on a car that likely isn't wide body and as aggressive as his car is. You put this spoiler on a non-wide body, fairly street only. Like his car looks like a race car, right?
If Jackson had done the spoiler first, like bought the
It wouldn't
car,
have made any
done
it
the
would look so
spoiler,
dumb.
Yeah.
We'd make fun of him.
Yeah, but it works on this car because of every single thing else that he's done. So I get why you're saying like that's a monstrosity. You don't want to put this on. I wouldn't put it on. I should say you don't want to on a regular NC Miata. Even like on mine was very low and it looked wide. But you put something like this on it, it's not going to look right.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to even want to buy that. Like I knew because I had a big duckbill spoiler from Innovative Dynamics, and then I bought the little carbon eBay one, and I really liked that one. I think it wasn't the same one you have, but it was like kind of similar.
Super similar.
And I really liked that one, but there was part of me that was like, I've always looked at wings. This is the one I've always had saved, and it kind of came up for sale, and I was like, all right, then this means that I need to. This is what I need. I need to buy it.
Yeah, and I guess with spoilers, like to answer your question on like, is there anything that's in the middle? There's tons of universal options. As long as you're okay with drilling into your trunk, you can search the size. Like just make sure the width is proper.
Yes,
because there's nothing I hate more than a wing that sits way further in than the trunk. And those are like the AutoZone specials, right? Like you just go and pick one that it's just because it's there.
Yeah, and there's ways around it. I mean, the wings like Fly Miata sells them that they slot in the gap between the trunk and the quarter panel. And if you are really concerned about your trunk panel, but honestly, I wouldn't be concerned about your trunk panel. Like you can buy other trunk
Go to a
panels.
junkyard
Yeah.
and find like 1,200 of them.
Especially if you like I eventually think I'd probably wrap my car, and it's like, wow, sky's the limit on finding like body panels and stuff. Like that's when I'll probably do some cosmetic fixes.
So yeah, I would just get on any decent website and even honestly eBay and just look for universal wings. And yes, everybody is gonna be like, well, if it's an eBay spoiler, it probably doesn't work. It's aerodynamics.
Right.
A spoiler will work with the right amount of wind going towards it as long as it's set up properly.
You just have to find the right size. Don't be spontaneous about it.
Measure it out.
Yeah, you can find the exact size that you want. Like you can even buy just uprights. You could even just buy uprights if you wanted to, and then get like a universal just spoiler, not uprights, but you can buy like the spoiler section and then put it on, and then it's the exact size that you want.
Gotta say hi to El
Yes.
Stuco from Mexico. Heck yeah. Isra Carranza, that's his name.
So
I got a question here.
Oh, you got one?
But this is directed to me from a jackass friend, Nate. He asked me, so Nate is a friend of mine from college. He's a little bit older than me. He was my brother's friend that I became friends with. And we were, I don't know what, I posted something. So one of my cars that I had was a Mazda 3 hatch, the 2010, first generation of the newer look from the 2000s models. And he also bought, we found out that the exact same color, same car at the same year as me. And he's not a car guy.
Yeah.
But he just asked me, how much do you miss your Mazda 3? I actually really like that car, and it was in my family until last year. My sister bought it from me.
It was a white one, right?
No, silver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was the silver one, and that was an awesome car. It was a 2.5, not the 2-liter 2.0 that they have now.
That's the same engine that's in this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it was a great car. And I put Mazda 3 wheels on it, Mazda Speed 3 wheels on it, lowered it, and put a front lip on it.
Well,
and the
obviously.
Mazda. This is. I mean, I was still kind of new at the modding game, and I put the Mazda Speed 3 spoiler, so it was like that raised spoiler.
Yep.
Man, it looked good. It was not the quickest, but it looked good, and that transmission was good. It had a cheap interior. That was my only thing.
They did back then.
They've come so far.
Yeah.
But-
Mazda's like turned a wheel. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like that car so much that I bought a Mazda Speed 3 in that same generation later on. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Brian Ari asks, what's the slowest car you've ever driven?
Today
Soul Red.
probably is the Mazda Miata. It's probably my car.
You guys say the Fiat. Oh no, you've driven a lot of crap though in Europe. I think
Well,
you drove.
so here's my question. So when the Plaid came out, everyone's like, it's the fastest car in the world, and it's like everyone's like, no, it's the quickest car in the world. Like there's a difference. It tops out. Well, actually, now the Plaid can do 217 miles an hour, but when it came out, it was limited to like 155 or something like that. And it's like obviously Koenigseggs and everything go faster, but this was the quickest. Is there the same for a slowest, like the slower top speed versus?
I'll
slowest
simplify it
acceleration?
to where you're driving it and you're like, oh my god, I can't stand driving this car because it's so damn slow. And I think I know my answer. And it's not the slowest, but it's the one that stands out because I hate it so much.
What is it?
It's the Toyota CHR.
Oh,
Or the Rogue, any of those
Yeah,
cars.
yeah.
They are brutal to drive, and I think the CVT doesn't help.
Yeah.
Like the Toyota CHR, such a good-looking small compact SUV to me.
yeah.
Could look so cool, and then they stuck this 1 point something liter. It's like 100 horsepower.
Yep.
It's awful to drive.
Well, for me, the new Honda HR-V, the smaller engine version,
Similar
like
car, yeah.
up at altitude especially.
Oh, yes,
Oh my
yes.
gosh! Like I was like, this is dangerous. I can't get up to highway speed. on an
Crosstrek.
on-ramp.
Everybody in
Yep.
Colorado has a Crosstrek, and have you tried taking a Crosstrek over a pass?
Yep.
Like how and why? Why do you do it? And then they load it with a roof rack and
Yeah.
everything.
Dude, both of my in-laws, they both own Crosstreks.
Oh,
They both
it
bought
hurts
one.
my soul on why that car and the Rogue are so
My
popular.
mother-in-law has bought 2 of them in a row. A Crosstrek.
Wow. Just devoted.
They like
customer.
them. They like, for some reason, they like
Yeah.
them.
They're like, this CVT is great.
The CVT's great.
So that's not the, I wouldn't say that's the slowest car, but that's the standout.
It's
Because I drive it,
Yeah.
it's my in-laws car,
Yeah.
and I drive it fairly regularly, and I loathe
I think,
driving it.
Yeah, I think objectively the slowest car I've driven is probably the Citroen Ami.
I knew it was one of the European cars. That
But
you,
it was in Vegas, and I actually broke down on the Vegas Strip. It stopped moving, but it was also like until that this one was actually chip tuned to go faster, so its top speed was like 45 instead of like 35, but it was like abysmally slow. But to your point, the Fiat was up there with like it was 101 horsepower when it was new. So I don't know what I had it at with like 100,000 miles.
my wife had the first 12 years that I was with her. She had a 2003. It was her high school graduation car. No, she got it in high school. 2002 Honda Civic, the most basic one. Roll-up windows, like
Okay, yeah.
manual windows. It was,
Yeah.
I think, 90-something horsepower, 96 horsepower.
Wow.
But dude, I mean, 12 years of no issues whatsoever. Like
Yeah.
I drove that car like it had way more
yeah.
horsepower.
Yeah.
But it still didn't feel as slow because it didn't have a CVT
Yep.
as the CHR did. So, yep. What's yours?
Kia Rio.
Oof, that
Ooh.
sounds brutal. Yeah.
When we were in Washington, Seattle area, and we landed and needed a rental car, and there was a couple options, but as a former Kia owner, I saw this Kia Rio. It was a newer one. And I was like, hey, let's get this. So we walk up to it, we get the key, and we're on our way. The moment you leave the city, and like you said, with altitude,
Yep.
the moment you leave the city and you start driving through the mountains and like going up hills and down hills, it became a like. I felt like I was hurting the car. Like it was just not good. It was like not meant to be driving on. It's like if you took a car that has no business being on the Autobahn. It was like, you're not supposed to, I know you can be here, but you're not supposed to be here right now, and I feel bad that I'm hurting you.
Yep.
And it was the Kia Rio. I'm sure they're great cars. I never see them ever. Like I don't think
they're good cars.
I don't think they make them anymore.
they're not good.
I don't think they even make them anymore. But yeah,
That
man.
reminds me, 1998 Ford Ranger that my friend had. We called it Big Red because Radio Flyer. We called it Radio Flyer because it was red. Dude, it was a manual. I know that reminds my Element. My Honda Element was one of the slowest cars I ever owned. It was a manual. I remember trying to get on 635 and that thing. I was like, I'm gonna
I
die.
can't believe you had a manual Element. That's so cool.
I know. I kind of wish I'd kept it.
Dude, that's like rare nowadays. You could have sold that for some good money.
Anyway, any other? What's that last thing say?
I want to do a sleep. Yeah, he's responding to you. Mazda 5 with manual. I want to do a sleeper build.
Mazda 5.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
That'd be
they could look cool.
hilariously
Their
cool.
proportions are a
That
little
Mazda 5's
weird.
the van, right?
It's like the MPV is what they call it.
Do you know what's awesome about those? You can put RX-8 seats in it. You can put a 2.5 in it, just like mine.
Yep.
You can do like all the Mazda, the quirky Mazda stuff that just is cross compatible. You can do all that in those.
Love it. Put some Speed 3 wheels on it.
You
I'd
could
love to do a
yeah.
Mazda Speed Mazda 5. Like, that'd
They're
be
cool
fun.
looking. The proportions are a little like if they had kept it, I feel like it would have looked really cool now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's tall. It's skinny and tall. If they flatten it a little bit, and I get it, like the whole point is like visibility. But it is a really cool car for a sleeper. That's one of the ones I
Yeah.
would pick if I was going to build a sleeper.
Yeah.
So. Good choice on that one.
Yeah.
I do have a question for you guys. I know we're jumping back a tiny bit, but I was gonna say so we all do YouTube, but we never really we don't often share videos with each other. Like we'll do like Savage Geese stuff every so often, and we'll share other stuff. But like, what do you guys watch on YouTube? Like just like if you're going home, it's a Wednesday night, you're like, I'm gonna turn on my TV or my computer and watch some YouTube. Like what channels are you watching pretty much every video of like when they upload? Besides all of ours, I know all of us watch each other. No matter what, the notification bell's on, we're hitting that bell on each other.
I watch Colored and Light playlist on repeat and I fall asleep to them.
Yes.
trying to get you
Fall
paid,
asleep
dude.
to 'em. Thank you.
And I click on every ad.
It's a good month, man. It's November, December.
Imad buys everything that's posted in all your ads. Like,
I have so much crap at home.
They're just
'cause of your
sitting,
ads.
sitting in his garage waiting for another Miata to be brought home.
I mean, I used to, over COVID, I watched a lot more. And a lot of those people I don't want to say grew out of. I got bored. They got either too technical or they got too niche. And that sometimes I think about that with my channel. I'm like, am I boring people because I focus so much on the EV6 and now I'm trying to shift over to other cars and, are people checking out? And I've done that. I've done that to a lot of channels. But my go-tos have been, Throttle House has been like a big one for me for a very long time. It's just something about their personality, how big they've gotten. They did that road trip video that was just, it was like TV quality. It was so good. And so I love Throttle House, and these are some big channels. I used to watch TFL. We don't get into that. And I watched Sarah and Tuned. She was really cool. She still is kind of cool, but she's gotten really technical. But I still like the way she does reviews.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's good. Straight Pipes was a big one for me too.
Yeah.
Throttle House and Straight Pipes were always kind of ragging on each other.
Yeah.
I still like Straight Pipes, but I definitely have leaned towards Throttle House a little bit more. I'm trying to think of like small ones that I've been watching like guys who own small dealerships that are getting screwed or like things like I'm watching stuff like that. And then Haggerty's new stuff is really good because they have that Barn Find guy now.
yeah.
And I don't really know a lot about classic American cars, but I love when he just walks around. He's like, "Oh my God, that's a 1938 Oldsmobile K-Line." And I'm like, "I don't know what that is, but you look excited as hell."
Sounds rare. I bet
Tell
there's
me,
not a lot.
Haggerty.
Bet there's not a lot of them for sale.
Yeah, Car Wow is the one that I've recently got into because I like his personality, and he does some cool drag races. And then I had like Audi guys. Like I used to follow Van City Audi. There was a GTI guy, New England Pete. I
followed New England
him.
still, yeah.
He's
Got an R. He's got Golf R now.
Yeah, yeah. So
just
that's
like yours.
He bought it right when I got rid of
Yeah.
mine. So I've had so many cars, so I've followed a lot of channels based on those cars that I've kind of grown away from. Not because I don't like their channel, but it's like it's not relevant to me as much anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying to find somebody with a good E400, and that's impossible because everybody's got the E63.
Yep.
So
Makes sense.
anyway, that's where I am.
I watch, the only channel I watch everything from is MKBHD, Marquez Brownlee. Because tech.
He's just a badass.
Tech YouTuber.
Solid YouTube
Oh,
channel.
I didn't even think about non-car
Yeah,
ones.
non-car.
Yeah, my
I don't
YouTube's
think I have any.
a big.
I've got a
mix.
lot of interesting ones.
But shout out to Marquez, happy 30th birthday today. And I watched Pete McKinnon because he's cool with car photography and
I
stuff.
guess I could go into my YouTube.
On that note, the Car Creative, he's a really cool guy.
I didn't know that one.
Up
I
in
gotta check
Canada.
that one out.
He also does really cool stuff, like great, like very simple to follow, like understand tutorials on like how to shoot cars, like how to film them, how to photograph
Oh,
them.
that sounds interesting. I've never heard of that guy.
He is awesome. I think his name's Alex. He's incredible, cool person. Very humble, chill, and yes, Savage Geese, Throttle House, like Gears and Gasoline, Mighty Car Mods. Really enjoy those guys. Trying to think of what else. I like Jerry Rig Everything.
Yeah, he's got a good channel.
Zach does great stuff. I don't watch much Everyday Driver, but like podcast wise, I listen to those, and then Carmudgeon, which is Jason Camisa from Haggerty.
His videos are awesome. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, that's the bulk of it. I don't watch a ton of. Well, I feel like I probably do watch a decent amount of YouTube, but like my brother watches YouTube 24/7.
Yeah.
That's what we do here. All we watch when our TV's on, we watch YouTube.
Yep.
And I mean, my wife's got her own. She's got her own thing. She falls in and out of like trends a lot more. Like she'll watch like the makeup and like the dress up,
Yeah.
like what
My
I'm
house
wearing
is on
kind
a
of stuff.
slime kick right now.
Slime kick,
Slime.
yeah. Like it's weird. Like my kid, she's got her own YouTube channels that she wants to watch. I watch a lot of the more vloggy style, like garage videos, to where it almost feels like I'm just like hanging out with some people working on cars. Like I watch, like Adam LZ's pretty good, Jimmy Oaks is pretty good. They both know each other, and like those little channels where it kind of feels more like us, where it's like a normal dude who obviously has like a large enough following to like buy all the things that you would want to buy. Like without those channels, I probably wouldn't know what like Rigamasters were, or like any of that side of kind of thing. But outside of that, I like to watch like home improvement. Like this old house I'll watch a lot of. There's a girl in Germany called Laura Kampf. She's like rebuilding this like 120-year-old house right now from literally like stripping it down to the bones and rebuilding it all. And it's like, that's the kind of stuff where like I wake up on a Saturday or a Sunday and like Gears and Gasoline, it's like, I know Gears and Gasoline posts this morning. I'm going to wake up and watch it. Like those kinds of channels where it's like every single video they post, I watch. Like both of you guys, every single video that you post, I make like, all right, I'm going to watch it. Like there's a lot of channels that I follow. Like I don't watch every Mighty Car Mods video. But you know, it's interesting to like get such a wide variety, and that's the great thing about YouTube is you get such a wide variety, and you can look up whatever you want to look up. And there's probably a YouTube channel on it.
That reminds, that doesn't, and like non-car ones, and this is a car one. I love watching Nürburgring videos, like crashes. I've been on a big kick of that because there's some really good footage out there. And then recently, and this is gonna sound so stupid, I've been on a kick of watching police camera footage videos.
Dude,
like
I've been watching that too lately.
Like road races or road chases, and people getting like people just acting stupid as hell. I've been on a huge, like last night, I think I watched it for 2.5 hours. Like after everybody went to bed, I watched just police talking to people just being jackasses, and it's just like.
Anyway, that's been it. Good hangout. Pizza, beer.
We could talk for like hours.
Great questions. I mean, we could and maybe should do this more often, even if it's virtual. Like I think it's fun conversation. Hopefully, you guys find some entertainment or value or something in between. But that's nice long chat with Emadifications.
An hour and 20.
Covered in Light, Flywheel Films, fun times. We'll see you all in another video.
Thanks everybody.
Very soon.
See you. Thank you all for joining.
Yeah, that was long. I need to be at my mom's.
I gotta awkwardly talk while I close this out. My phone is on fire right now.
My Samsung would have been like, it's too hot, turn off.
Yes, dude, that's happened a few times.